Hi friends, welcome back or to the channel. Making some headway on this garbage and finally got the bolt pack that I've been waiting on, and I will explain it to you. So finally got this thing mostly ironed out. I've got it timed. I set it at 12 degrees for now. It's a little snappier, seems to run a little happier. The oil no longer has fuel in it, which is good, big. So a bolt showed up today at the Carquest down there. Remember I told you I used flex plate bolts to install my flywheel? There's a flywheel bolt for comparison. That's a pretty substantial difference there. So I've honestly been really procrastinating pulling that transmission out because it's heavy and awkward and I don't want to do it. But now I'm out of excuses. So I'm going to start pulling it this weekend, but I spent a bunch of time degreasing the floor of the bed here because it was this thick, just caked. There's still a bunch like over against that fender, but when it warms up I'll get my pressure washer out and it'll be whatever. Also, because it was a nice weekend, got the scooter out, put some miles on it yesterday. It was nice. Me and Frank went for a little ride, had a pretty good time. I went for more than a little bit, but he only wanted to go for a few minutes just because he was playing with friends and stuff, so whatever. So now that the bolts have arrived, we got to do some spark plugs, because these are still the plugs that came in this engine when I got it. I just took them out and kind of quickly cleaned them up just so they would fire, but they're garbage. I'm going to put fresh plugs in the deal. Now let's get to work on these spark plugs. I'm not going to do all of these on camera because, they're just not fun to watch. They're not fun to do either, but, you guys aren't going to come and do them for me, so. Kind of hard to get leverage from. Clear back here. But that's fine. Get out of there, man. Look. See how wet it is? From when I had all that fuel in it. God, bro. We're using Autolite 25s. So shiny and new. Now there's two different spark plug gaps on these 302s. If you're running points, gap them at 30 to 35. But if you're running HEI like I am, 45 is your sweet spot. 40 to 45. This one's a little big. 45. Right on the money. I hate this motor sitting so far back in this cradle. There's no comfortable way to work on this engine anymore. Especially now that I put the radiator in and I can't just stand in here. It sucks so much more. Toy. Now, I know I put dielectric in the plug boots when I put them on, but we're still going to put a drop. Ow, just a little drop on the end of the spark plug itself. Moving all over the damn place on me. Well, we're just going to put it right back in the plug boot. Rotate it a little bit so it gets all the way around the plug. Listen for your click. There it is. Now I got to do that 7 more times. All 8 plugs are done. Let's see what happens. We already know it's going to start, but let's see if it runs any better. What are we doing here? Say psych right now. What the hell's the problem? Didn't disconnect anything, did I? I don't think so. Wire for my tack, the green one, we're touching the intake. I think that's what it was. Sounds smoother, way smoother. Let's give it a few woo pounds and see what happens. Okay, it's been some days, but I've been busy doing homeowner stuff, getting ready for summer, turning my sprinkler system on, which led to digging up the yard and replacing valves and, you know, doing all the stuff. Then I got my swamp cooler in, which again, I had to do some maintenance on it, had to change the float, had to change the filters and the typical stuff, you know. But now, we're back. I'm spraying this down. I'm gonna paint that because I'm working on a super cool sign for my buddy. Can't tell you or show you what it is yet. You're just gonna have to trust me that it's gonna be good. Get the first coat of paint down. Now we got like a 10-minute window, I think. I don't know. I'm gonna say 5 to 10. So we're gonna get underneath here. Oh, let's see what's up. Well, that's not good. I just put gear oil in that winch the other day. That's no dice. Okay, this is going to be fun because my face is kind of smashed against the exhaust here. Lefty loosey, guys. Not righty loosey. Dum-dum. Ooh, I thought that was going to come down and smack me in my face. Punch me right in the moneymaker. I want to tell you my face is up against the exhaust. I'm not bullshitting. I really have no room. It's a stupid flat tire. So this is an adventure. Hi, bud.
Hi.
What are you doing?
I wanted to be out here, but I also wanted to be warm. So can I sit in the truck?
You know, I climbed off into this truck 3 times now, and I still haven't grabbed any floor dry. But this massive leak I've developed here. Ain't that stupid? Got the U-joint straps off. Now we got to do carrier bearing, which is just these 2 bolts right here, and I think they're 11/16. And then since I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and undo our PTO shaft up there, which is that piece of rod right there. It's just a bolt with 2 nuts on it. So I'll go ahead and knock those 2 out. Oh, and I'll put some floor dry down. It's been leaking for a while, I would assume because it's like baked on this muffler over here, or this glass pack. All the bolts I sprayed underneath this truck, and these were not on the list because, I don't know, I just forgot about them, I guess. And they're probably the only ones I should have sprayed because holy shit. I'm getting my teeth kicked in down here, man. Finally got it out. Give myself a little bit more room for activities. Now this guy's next. And it's going to be fun because it is welded to the shaft of the sprocket here, of the drive. I've only got just a tiniest bit of room here to slide the shaft in this way. But on the other end, I pretty much have nothing. I have to loosen that set screw right there and hope that I can slide it back towards the back of the truck enough to get it off the transmission side. Quick little update I just figured out. All I have to do, this is the back side by the way, all I gotta do is take that screw out, maybe not all the way out, just loosen it up, and then this shaft actually slides inside there, and it's only in there like that far, so I'll just slide it the rest of the way in there because I can't touch the end of it with my finger in there. So I'll just slide that up into there, and then I don't have to take it off the transmission at all. Okay, we tried to be nice, but it's not wanting to cooperate very well, so I soaked it up with some deep creep. I'm just going to go ahead and let it sit probably overnight with that deep creep just working its way in there, and then maybe tomorrow we'll get it out. I don't know. If we can't figure it out tomorrow, I may end up just unbolting the engine and picking it up and sliding it forward just far enough to get my hands up in there, but I don't really want to pull the engine. We'll see what happens. May end up doing that. Okay, so I undid all that stuff on the PTO yesterday, and I sat for a while last night and I thought about it, and I think I'm just gonna leave the transmission in place because realistically, all I have to do is unbolt the exhaust, the oil pressure gauge, the fuel line, and the starter. The motor is going to be so much easier, and I don't have to take the engine all the way out. It realistically only needs to come forward far enough for me to get my hands up in there, because I'm not actually taking, I guess I have to take the clutch out, but all I'm doing is changing the flywheel bolts. So I honestly feel like it may be easier to just lift the motor up and pull it forward than it's going to be for me to try to get that transmission out of there, because that PTO shaft still won't move. And I know I could just unbolt the PTO off the side of the transmission, but then I lose all my gear oil out of the transmission, and I'm already upset with all of the gear oil that's spilled out of my winch, because gear oil is expensive. And if I'd have known that that winch leaked that severely, I wouldn't have wasted any oil on it at all. I would have just, I don't know, crammed some grease in there or some shit. I don't know. But that's the plan. I'm going to climb underneath there, and everything that I took apart yesterday I'm going to put back together, and then we'll pop the hood and start getting the motor ready to not come back out, but to pull. That's suspicious. That's weird. Everything underneath is undone. Now all I have is the motor mount bolts in the pedestals on each side, and obviously the throttle linkage, because I have to take the carburetor off to put the plate on to pick this up. Probably pull the cap and just lay it over here somewhere, just so I don't smash it with the cherry picker. And I have to drain the radiator so I can pull the hoses. And I may pull this just to give me a little bit more room for activities. This is definitely going to be easier than dropping that transmission, because I even tried, when I first got out here today, I even tried to move that PTO shaft and I still can't get it to budge. So it's about time to wrap it up for the day because it's time for dinner. So I'm going to go in and wash up. Well, first I'm going to get the coolant draining out of this deal. Then I'm going to go in and wash up and have dinner and, you know, think about the series of choices that led me to this point in my life. Okay, rack. Got my motor mount bolts out, or the pedestal bolts. Radiator bolts, obviously. Radiator's not here anymore. Bell housing bolts are all out. Carbs off. I'm pretty sure I've got everything undone that has to become undone. And let's get the engine hoist out and set up and see what happens. Got it out, got it hooked up, and luckily I don't need to lift it up very far, just like, I don't know, 2 inches or so to get the motor mount bolts out of the pedestals, and then I should be able to just shake it a little bit and get it loose from the transmission, and then bring it forward, I don't know, to here-ish. That should be plenty of room for me to get behind it and get the bolts out of the clutch and the flywheel. So, ain't nothing to it but to do it. It's out. Well, it's up and forward. Brand new shiny clutch, brand new shiny flywheel. Now we just got to get it all out. That's the fun part. Grab some box end wrenches and let's go to work. Perfect opportunity for me to try out my new toy. I just bought this yesterday. Ow, you dirty rat. I just gotta do that 5 more times. This may be easier to do from underneath on a creeper, or actually stand in the engine bay, probably on that side because I have more room, but actually stand in the engine bay and reach over, and I'll just come back when I get the clutch out. As big of a pain in the ass as it is to get in and out from under the hood of this truck, I'm smart enough to only grab one tool at a time. So here's the Loctite that I'm using. Get it in these sticks. It's handier than shit. It's kind of expensive, but I get my anti-seize the same way in these little sticks. So nice. Because all you got to do is put the bolts over there. Just take your bolt, run it around in there, just like that. You got some Loctite on them threads without the mess. Now, stick it back down in here, because that is still the first bolt that I pulled. Take this guy here. Gotta make sure that that's the right size socket before I go trying to ramrod it in there with a ratchet, yeah? Ooh. That's the one. So coming out they're 3/4. Going in, they're 11/16. Super fun. I'm gonna have to get give me a 12.11/16. I'm pretty sure I have one. Not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure. So now, as I said, 5 more to go. Don't be stupid like me. These things were literally only in there like 3 threads. I mean, see the difference there? Look. these things will be much, much better. I honestly didn't even think about there being a difference between flex plate bolts and flywheel bolts. I don't know why. Just didn't. Inspecting these old bolts, they look normal. Well, these three do at least. These other three, on the other hand, see how it's all shiny on that one side? This one's all shiny most of the way around. This one just a little bit. I'd say they were making contact in places they weren't supposed to be. Oopsie doopsie. That was fun. Had two of the bolts that before with the shorter ones that didn't torque. So I pulled them out because I told you guys I was going to change the bolts one at a time. As I pulled them out, I ran a tap in through the hole and cleaned it out, pulled it back out. So I got all 6 of them to torque to 80 foot-pounds. Now it's time to reinstall the party plate, which I'm not sure it's supposed to do that or not, but I'm not going to tell nobody if you guys don't. Slide it on your alignment tool. Oh. And well, bang. Now, getting the pressure plate in there and getting the bolts in is a pain in the neck. Oh, let's see what we can do here. Shitty part is this this flywheel has 2 different bolt patterns in it, and I wasn't smart enough to measure or to mark which bolt pattern I used before, so makes it super fun trying to hold this heavy bastard up and get your bolts in. I'm pretty sure that was the right one. And that hurt. That smashed the shit out of my finger. And you guys watched me put this together the first time, so I'm not going to repeat the steps. I'm obviously going to have to repeat the steps, but not going to do it on camera because, as previously stated, if you've been on this channel for a while, you watch me do this the first time I set this motor in. So I'm going to go ahead and just run through all this by myself and then bring you guys back when it's time to set the motor in place, because that's going to be an adventure. I will tell you guys though that the torque spec on this pressure plate is 12 to 24, but my torque wrench only goes down to 20, so it's getting torqued to 20. The time has come to reinstall the engine, and if you can tell, it's leaning forward because I have all the front drive accessories and I clipped the center hole like a rookie. So I'm going to get it in and set it down just on the pedestals down there. We're going to unhook the engine hoist, bring it to the front hole, and then we should be fine. And then we should be okay to stab it in. I made it to this point. The problem I have here is that bolt runs into the front of the pedestal, and the other side is like that much over, so the engine's kind of just a little bit. But I think that's because the alternator and shit's on this side, so I'm going to step in here and slant the motor that way, and then I think I'll be able to just push it in because we're pretty close. We're pretty close to lined up, I think. I don't know. I'm gonna put you guys on time lapse and we'll figure it out. bell housing bolts are all tight. Motor mount bolts are tight. Now I just got to do all the small stuff like fuel line and oil pressure line and carburetor and the 3 wires that I had hooked up to this deal, and finish work. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that thing back where it goes so I can get her car in the driveway and get it out of the dirt before the rain comes. And I'm just gonna kind of button up all my loose ends, put all the wires and shit back on, start her back in, stuff like that. And then that'll probably do it for this segment or this episode, because I am about 4 days late on posting my video for this week. I'm trying to do 2 a week. I did 2 last week, and this week all I've done is shorts. So I'll get this edited and uploaded tonight so I can maintain my schedule. But if you're still here, thank you. I appreciate you coming by. This one wasn't a lot of action, but it was something that had to be done. So now I got to do all the finish work and hopefully take this thing for a rip. So thanks for stopping by today, guys. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Remember, your dreams aren't going to work unless you do. So don't be afraid to make mistakes and do things twice, because sometimes that's what you got to do, Goodbye.